Let's talk about the Culling Game from Jujutsu Kaisen, aka what this man was up to at the end of Season 2 and what you can expect to see in Season 3. Now, as far as spoilers go for my anime onlys, obviously if you are a purist and you don't want to know anything, then this video won't be for you. But this isn't going to be like deep spoilers or anything. I'm just going to briefly explain what the Culling Game is, kind of what you can expect from Season 3, and just like the general status quo at the start of this arc. So with all of that being said, let's start with what exactly was happening in the finale of Season 2 during this moment. And as we know, Kenjaku had just used Maximum Uzumaki on Mahito in order to extract his curse technique. He then uses Idol Transfiguration at a distance in order to activate a bunch of seals and binding vows that this man had been placing and making for 1,000 years. Yes, this is a long-term plan that has been developing here. So what this ranged Idol Transfiguration did was it essentially activated two types of people. So this first group of people are like Yuji Itadori, people that have eaten cursed objects. For the past 1,000 years, Kenjaku has been making binding vows with both sorcerers and cursed users to turn them into cursed objects, just like Sukuna's finger. He then had those cursed objects fed to various people, and this Idol Transfiguration activated all of those cursed objects within those people, transforming them into the sorcerers and cursed users that he made binding vows with up to 1,000 years earlier. The second group of people that were activated were just normal people that had their brains transformed to be able to use curse techniques, just like Junpei in Season 1, when Mahito used Idol Transfiguration on him and gave him access to that jellyfish poison curse technique. So essentially this man has created a ton of new sorcerers all at once. But why did he do this? Well, he wants them all to fight so that he can see the evolution of cursed energy. He feels like it's not currently at its most optimized level. So by having all of these sorcerers run around fighting each other, he thinks he can recreate the golden age of Jujutsu and force the evolution of cursed energy. However, just because there are all these new sorcerers running around doesn't necessarily mean that they're all going to start fighting each other, right? So the Culling Game was designed to force just that. So after 1,000 years of careful planning, Kenjaku was able to manipulate barriers all across Japan that split it up into 10 distinct colonies. Then, using a ton of intricate binding vows, he was able to set up the Culling Game within these barriers. And at its inception, there were 8 rules to this Culling Game, so let's go over them now. The first one is that after awakening a curse technique, like all of the players he used his Idol Transfiguration on, those players must declare their participation in the Culling Game at a barrier of their choice within 19 days. Any player who breaks the previous rule shall be subject to curse technique removal. And as you know, or as you may not know, curse techniques are engraved on your brain. So the act of removing a curse technique is akin to death. 3. Non-players who enter the barrier become players at the moment of entry and should be considered to have declared participation in the Culling Game. So this would be like for normal civilians, so nobody that has a curse technique. If they stumble into one of the barriers, they are now a player. 4. Players score points by ending the lives of other players. 5. Points are determined by the game master and indicate the value of a player's life. As a general rule, sorcerers are worth 5 points and non-sorcerers are worth 1 point. 6. Excluding the point value of a player's own life, players may expend 100 points to negotiate with the game master to add 1 new rule to the Culling Game. 7. In accordance with the previous rule, the Game Master must accept any proposed new rule unless it has a marked and long-lasting effect on the Culling Game, meaning you can't just say, I make a new rule, the Culling Game's over. 8. If a player's score remains the same for 19 days, that player will be subject to curse technique removal, aka death. Now again, these are just the 8 rules at the onset of the Culling Game. Obviously, much more are added since players can add rules, but I'm not going to get into that for this video in an attempt to keep it as, spoiler friendly as possible. Also in the comments, let me know how long it took you to find my head in this one. So yeah, to wrap that all up in a nice little nutshell for you, the Culling Games are basically a battle royale that was set up through a series of intricate binding vows to serve the purpose of forcing the evolution of cursed energy. So yeah, y'all, that's a little teaser for what you can expect during the next arc in Season 3 of JJK. But don't worry, there is so much more to uncover. And last but certainly not least, shout out to Ty for the sponsored video. Thank you for the support, man. And just a reminder out there, y'all, we do have a Discord now. So whatever platform you're watching me on, you should be able to find the link pretty easily. We've got some mods now. The chaos has calmed down a little bit, so come hang out with us over there. And as always, y'all, I will see you in the next one.